From the time this boy, Nathan, the older one in the picture with the baby, entered the world, he was faced with many challenges. How he was going to move, how he was going to be independent, and how he was going to be a normal, everyday boy. But really, he didn't need to be a normal, everyday boy because he was something even more special. This boy would grow up to be one of the smartest kids that I know, and he was with a gentle and quiet manner could make a room go silent. While his life today is pretty good, it wasn't always this way. He was faced with many challenges right off the bat. Nathan was born with 3 conditions: spina bifida in the L4 and L5 vertebrae, hydrocephalus, and Arnold-Chiari malformation. Some of you probably don't know what all of these are. So spina bifida is a portion of the neural tube in the spine that is disformed, and it connects to the spine and the bones. And hydrocephalus is the buildup of fluid in the cavities deep within the brain, so it increases the brain swelling when it is born. And then Chiari malformation is a condition in which the brain tissues extend into the spinal cord, and it occurs in the skull abnormally, and it happens normally during birth. So right off of the bat, Nathan had to have 3 immediate surgeries after being deprived of oxygen for an hour after his birth. He was placed on a ventilator and had to have 2 blood transfusions. While these were immediate challenges that Nathan faced, the world ahead of him was something that was going to be even more challenging. School and the home life were 2 challenges that his family had to face head on. Being in school, he obviously had physical disabilities, being paralyzed from the waist down, so he couldn't walk, so he had to use the wheelchair and a walker in order to help him get around. Having a wheelchair and walker to get around makes it difficult for him because of the bullying that he faces during school. When he was younger, especially, this was a huge challenge for Nathan because he had to face people asking him, well, why can't you walk straight? Why are your legs crooked? Why can't you stand for a long period of time? Why do you look this way? And while this seemed to be a challenge for him, his family had raised him to be independent and strong-minded, and that allowed him to be able to face those students that didn't understand his case and be able to explain it to him better. Nathan is a senior in high school currently, and he is one of the smartest persons that I know. He excels tremendously in math and science and won an award from Northern Illinois University in a robot building competition that they had 2 years ago. His school competed in this competition, and they won a prize. Bay Cliff Health Camp has been a child therapy and wellness center camp that Nathan has attended for the last 10 years of his life. This camp helps provide Nathan with many opportunities to grow and become independent. When he goes to this camp, he is cut off with communication with his parents, his family, and his friends for 2 months, and the only form of communication that he can get is a letter each month. And the reason that the camp does this is to provide students an opportunity to get away from the life that they once knew and become independent and learn how to do things without the support of their family. At this camp, he learns how to do laundry, how to change himself, how to cook, how to clean, how to just get along with basic everyday things so that at one point he can become independent and grow on his own. He's also excelled at this Bay Cliff Health Camp by completing a challenge that they have every summer. At the end of the year, students that have physical disabilities get to go up the 12-mile cliff or something. It's on the top of a hill, and he gets to see if he can be the fastest person to get up. And 2 years ago, he won that with a record-breaking tie and was on the news in Michigan at the camp that he was at. And this camp has had such an impact on Nathan's life that after high school, he wants to become a counselor at this camp and help students that are in his same position learn how to be independent and grow. Nathan's future is really bright. He's such a smart student that he wants to attend Mission Tech to become an engineer in hopes of being able to develop his own programs and start his own company. He also has a huge goal to become independent and drive. So one of the difficulties with that, though, is that since he is paralyzed from the waist down, he has to have a specific car that he can access the brake and the gas and be able to function all at once like normal drivers do. And he also is planning on graduating this this spring at the top of his class. He has the highest GPA right now. And he also has a dream of having a family and living on his own. These are some more pictures of Nathan when he was younger. His family is in the top right corner. He's got 3 younger siblings, and that was another challenge when he was having his younger siblings grow up around him, because they are healthy, normal children who get to live a life that he doesn't get to live, which has set him back sometimes, but at the same time he also understands that this is his gift that God has given him, and he's going to embrace it with whatever comes his way. His parents also face the challenge of having to explain to the younger children what Nathan's defects were and his disabilities, but his family has embraced him and loved him for who he is and really pushes him to be independent. A lot of the times he'll ask for someone to get him a glass of water because he can't get to the kitchen himself, and his brother will say, "Get off your butt and do it yourself." So, his family has never babied him, has never, tried to do everything for him. Obviously, when he was younger, he couldn't do it, but now that he is, an adult, he is doing it himself, and there's no sympathy for him. So Nathan is just one of the millions of children that is born with a defect or a disability at a young age, but he also has faced these challenges head on and has become independent. And as an educator, it's very important to me, facing students that have disabilities every day, mental and physical. It's important that we learn to treat them like normal human beings and not a special case, because they're so much greater than we could ever imagine.
So how did you become familiar with Nathan?
He's my cousin.
Okay.
Sarah, how many young children in this country deal, or even internationally, deal with these types of health issues?
I don't have the number on that, but in the class that I took, special education with Professor Donahoe, Donahoe. She talks about the severity of it and just how many, there are millions and millions of children that are born with different disabilities, ranging from minor disabilities to severe disabilities.
I'd be interested to know, what are the odds that individuals in this room know somebody who struggles, and now we have information to step out and understand them a little better. That'd be an interesting statistic to find out.
Mm-hmm.
In your presentation, you emphasized independence. As someone who doesn't have the same struggles, when I might be interacting with someone that does have to face these challenges, do you think there's a best way to not baby them and allow them to find their independence while still trying to be supportive and helpful?
Right, yeah, there's definitely a balance that you have to find, and each individual is different. I mean, you're different. I mean, the way I would approach you would be different as how I would approach Alexa or how I would approach a professor. So each student that has a disability or something going on is going to be different, but you just approach them like a normal person, and obviously they'll react to you differently based on how you approach them, and I think basing it off of how they react to you can help you better communicate and help them.
So was this a class presentation, or is this something you did just for the conference?
It was a class presentation, but it was also something that I expanded on. The class presentation was like a 2 to 3 minute, easy, kind of just highlighting a person that we knew that had a disability, and so for this I broadened it a little bit more, got a little bit more in depth with his life and his struggles. So.
Evidently, Nathan has very strong intellectual gifts. What other compensating gift does he have just to offset some of the things that he cannot do?
Right. So like I said, he was definitely intellectual, like you said, but he also is just like the funniest person I've ever met. He's the type of person where he's always quiet, but as soon as he says something, you just immediately laugh, and he just lights up a room, and he comes back with the most sarcastic responses you've ever heard, and he just makes you smile all the time. And he loves his siblings and would do anything for them, even if he can't do it.
All right, thank you, Sarah.